Hi there, welcome to Mudwalkers. I'm Chris. You may notice that my audio quality is somewhat diminished and that I'm not holding a mic in my hand. That's because when I went to Cypress Cove, I kind of dropped my mic adapter and broke it. So I'm corresponding with the manufacturer to try and get a replacement adapter so I don't have to get the entire set over again. Try to save a little bit of money. But in the meantime, sorry. As you can see, we're about to discuss Leviticus chapter 18, but something I wanted to point out, someone commented under one of these recent Bible passage videos, and I think an explanation of my perspective on these passages is in order, because I think I should have explained at the outset what these videos are for. I'm gonna run through every single passage I can find and make an individual short video like this one to explain it, because it's one thing to make an hour-long video that sets out to explain everything. It's another thing to be talking to your friend and saying, hey, you know what, there's this short video you can watch about this passage that kind of shows my perspective. Maybe this can explain it a bit better, or maybe you're just interested in these subjects and you don't want to sit down and watch an hour-long video. But I wanted to make shorter form content for this kind of thing. I actually left my own paper Bible in the car when my wife drove to work today, so all I have is my wife's Bible. Thanks, baby. So I'm gonna look at the ESV on my phone, and then we're gonna look at the NET in my wife's Bible. Leviticus 18, starting with verse 6. None of you shall approach any of his close relatives to uncover nakedness. I am Yahweh. You shall not uncover the nakedness of your father, which is the nakedness of your mother. She is your mother. You shall not uncover her nakedness, etc. So nakedness, 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 all through this portion of Leviticus. This is often cited as a challenge to naturism because it says you're not supposed to uncover nakedness of such and such person. Here's the problem. Number one, this passage only applies to near kin. Only to like your grandparents, your parents, you and your siblings, your step-siblings, your half-siblings, and maybe your cousins. But as long as none of those people are present, then nudism should be fine, right? Wrong, according to those same people. So then the passage is not relevant at that point. But the plot thickens because it's well established that this expression, uncover nakedness, is actually a euphemism for sexual intercourse. You'll actually find this in the NIV, but even more respected is the NET. This is my wife's family. This is my wife's favorite translation because she actually has a degree in biblical Hebrew. And she likes the fact that this is not only a well thought out scholarly translation, but it has extensive footnotes. Often the footnotes cover the page more so than the actual text. They go very in depth in explaining lots of the translation decisions that they made. Listen to the same verse in the NET. No man is to approach any close relative to have sexual intercourse with her. I am Yahweh. You must not expose your father's nakedness by having sexual intercourse with your mother. She is your mother. You must not have intercourse with her. Let's look at the footnote. Footnote number 10. Hebrew, to uncover her nakedness, is clearly euphemistic for sexual intercourse. They provide sources. This expression occurs a number of times in the following context and is generally translated, have sexual intercourse with so-and-so. Although in the case of the father mentioned in the following verse, the expression may be connected to the shame and dishonor that would belong to the father whose wife's sexuality is violated by his own son. So this passage is not even about skin exposure on a literal level. It's more about, well, it's just about sex. We actually have similar sayings in English for the same thing, for sex. Let's say that there's this man and this woman, and the woman comes to you and says, oh, you know that guy Bob? Yeah, we've been sleeping together for the last 6 months. And you ask, oh, that's odd. Is that important to you to sleep in the same bed? Well, I mean, no, I've never actually fallen asleep next to him. I've never actually, like, slept in his bed. He's never slept in my bed. But, like, you get it. Like, you go, what? She says, dude, we're having sex. Like, sleeping with him doesn't mean sleeping with him. You can't assume that sleeping with someone means losing consciousness in someone else's bed. What it means is sexual intercourse. Same goes for this. This is a metaphor that involves the raising of someone's skirt for certain purposes, but that doesn't mean that's all the phrase means. It's a euphemism, it's a metaphor, it's an idiom, you know, a turn of phrase that means sex. So ultimately, it's not relevant to nudism, and even if it was, it would only forbid the nakedness of close family members, which seems like the exact opposite of the standard of most evangelicals, which would be, you know, if you need to be naked around your kids, maybe that's okay. You need to bathe your kids, etc. Like, you know, a certain amount of nakedness in the home for practical function is fine, but like, don't be in the same room when like one of your coworkers is changing when you have them over for dinner or something. Like they're gonna swim in your pool and this person goes and is changing. Don't go stand in the same room as that person, even though it's a practical reason. Even though you might stand in the same room as your child when your child is changing clothes to get in the pool. So it's funny how it's the opposite of the standard that the passage lays, but the passage is still cited against nudism. And chances are, not everyone who uses the passage that way has that reversal of standards, but that's just what I've heard in my experience. That's it for this video. This episode of Mudwalkers is brought to you by Nature Him, Todd, Jacob, Brian, Jordan, Benjamin, Jay Sweets, Alex, Pablo, Edward, John, Skating Aimlessly, Joseph, Charlie, W, Liam, Harry, Jesse, Max, Adam, Edward, and Nate. Thank you all so much for supporting Mudwalkers. Your support is making this channel possible. You're making my work sustainable, and I'm super grateful for the opportunity to be able to make this content. My hope is to make bigger and better content as we go. That'll be all for this video. I will see you in the next one.